Hi there, Kota. Let's take a look at this first essay you've sent us as part of your 9 essay correction package. About employees who should stay in the same job. Let's see what you said. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated if workers should stay in the same occupation or if they should experience different jobs. Personally, I strongly agree. This essay will argue both statements using examples from Yomiuri newspaper and Yutaro Morimoto to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. I didn't like this here. Personally, I strongly agree. The reason why is the previous section here had 2 different points of view. So it's confusing to us. With which do you strongly agree? Okay, so that doesn't really make sense. Okay, so let's try to fix that. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated if workers should stay in the same occupation or if they should experience different jobs. Full stop. Personally, I agree that they should change at least once. Okay? Then, this is not really clear to us. Why are you going to argue both statements? This is a to what extent do you agree or disagree statement. You've just told us that you strongly agree. So if you strongly agree and they're not asking you to talk about both sides, they didn't ask you it here, then why are you going to do it? Why are you going to argue both statements? Okay, so an examiner reading this is saying, okay, well, I understand the candidate's perspective, the candidate's position, but I don't understand why the candidate is choosing to argue both sides when we already know the candidate strongly agrees. It doesn't make sense. Nobody asked you about both statements. Okay, so right now for me, that's a little bit of a red flag. I'm wondering maybe you're going to include information that is not relevant. Okay, or at least does not create a cohesive essay based on what you've said your position is. So once I finish reading your essay, I'll explain to you what I think you could do here to improve it. Let's see what you said. On the one hand, there is ample evidence people should stay in the same job. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, to master skill and become the professional of specific work. Secondly, to move up the ladder and to take on more responsibility. All right, now what you need to know here, Kota, is that these are not sentences. These are merely fragments. And the reason is that they're missing the components that make a sentence. A sentence at its very, very minimum needs a subject and it needs a verb. Here, you've got this full infinitive here, which is acting in a way like a noun, but there's no verb. Okay? So it would have made sense if you had said, to master a skill and become the professional of specific work is one of the reasons. So that would be a sentence, but these on their own are not sentences, this first and the second way. Okay, so for example, recent empirical research by the Japan Yomiuri newspaper demonstrates that the generation born in the 50s during which the majority of people decided not to change their career compared to the other generation. The generation born in the 50s during which, okay. You can see that I'm trying to correct the grammar here. I'm having some trouble though. Okay. I got it. So, the generation born in the 50s, when the majority of people decided not to change careers compared to the other generations, tends to feel happy with their life and be more proud of being one of the professional members of the working organization. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that staying in the same job for one's apostrophe S entire life may encourage individuals to feel fulfillment in their career. So you can see here clearly that grammar is an issue we're having some not major mistakes, but they're mistakes nonetheless, and we have to be careful with those, okay? Um, so they're mistakes that, slow the reader down. All right. They don't impede communication. I still understand what you're trying to say, but I do have to fix a lot of the sentences here. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right. Let's move on. On the other hand, although there is a risk of, not for, a risk of unemployment, failure, and even lower salary, enriching your life experience and the positive impact of having different perspectives cannot be overstated. This is largely because the ideas of each individuals are inspired only from their experiences. Okay. For example, Yutaro Morimoto, one of the most successful Japanese fishermen, you need an E here, who decided to start farming for the first time at the age of 57, said that the majority of the new challenges not only gave him new ideas for fishing, but also the joys of living. Consistent with his line of thinking is that the practical knowledge improves the qualities of life. Okay, that practical knowledge without the improves quality of life without the plural. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that job switching is worth trying at least once in your lifetime. A lovely paragraph, but again, you've got some grammar issues here. From the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that having a different job in one's apostrophe S career leads individuals to improve their life happiness, considering that more people are starting to update positive messages. I don't understand that, on the internet regarding job changing. It is predicted that the number of job hoppers will increasingly grow in importance. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the beginning. So, to what extent do you agree or disagree? And remember, we said that this essay will argue both statements. You said you strongly agree. So, what is confusing to us here is this whole paragraph. Okay? So, I'm okay with you having this paragraph. I think it's reasonable to understand and to analyze the fact that there are reasons why some people should stay in the same job. Okay. So I'm not suggesting not writing this entire paragraph. What I am suggesting, however, is rephrasing your introduction so that it appropriately reflects how you actually developed your body paragraphs. So what you could do is this. Have debated if workers should stay in the same occupation or if they should switch different jobs. Full stop. Personally, while there is considerable value in staying in the same job, I agree that there are more benefits to be gained by switching jobs. That's essentially what you said in your body paragraphs. So, what you need to do is make sure that your introduction reflects that. Okay. So, saying you strongly agree when you then have a whole paragraph about the other side doesn't make sense. Then saying you strongly agree and then saying that, you know what, yeah, I strongly agree, but I'm going to talk about both sides, that doesn't make sense. So you need to change this I strongly agree to actually show what it is you develop in your body paragraphs. Okay? And I've suggested one way to do it. One way that I find is really easy is by using a while statement. So while there are numerous benefits to be gained by staying in the same job, the benefits of switching jobs are greater. It's that simple, okay? And you get rid of this person, I strongly agree, and then the whole thing is cohesive, it makes sense, and we kind of know where you're going with this, all right? Okay, so that's pretty much what I want to talk to you about for your task 2. Let's take a look at your task 1. It's that bird flu, right? Yeah, okay. The bar graph by WHO indicates the number of victims caused by global bird flu for 10 years between 1990 and 2000. Overall, the total dead and injured, not injury, increased during the period. Okay, okay. It's a little vague, but it's fine. It's fine. I think that's fair enough. Yes. Firstly, looking at the top and bottom of the figure, the lowest number of casualties was shown in the year 1990 and 1991, both with, word order here, 120,000. It was nearly 75% of the highest figure, which was recorded between 1997 to 2000, with approximately 175,000. All right, you didn't have to do that kind of math, but it's fine that you did. Secondly, the trend of figures show the trend of doesn't make sense. The trend shows constant increase. The data starts from total fatalities (IES) in 1990 with nearly above 120,000, which remained the same the year after. The figure rose to 135,000 in 1992, and again it remained the same the following year. Don't use the same in the same year after, in the same year after, just the following year. However, then the number started to grow constantly each year by 10,000 until it reached the peak of 175,000 in 1997, not in year. The total casualties stayed the same for the rest of the 4 years questioned. Okay, that's not entirely true, really. If you look at this, there's a dip here in 1999. Okay, so you could have mentioned that. And there's not a lot you have to say there, but you could merely say that total casualties say the same with some minor fluctuations. Even just saying that would be fine. Okay, so it's a good task one. I'm pretty happy with it. You did try to make some comparisons. I think that's good. I wasn't so sure about this paragraph in the beginning, but all in all, I thought you did a nice job. So keep at it, Kota, and I'll be looking forward to your next set of essays. Good luck.